Welcome to Course 4, Foundation, Certified Supply Chain Professional, CSCP, course, by SPAO Academy. Topic 1. Supply Chains, Demand Management, and Forecasting. Section 2. Demand Analysis and Patterns. Lesson 1. Understanding Demand. Understanding Demand. Welcome to the first lesson on demand analysis. Before a supply chain can build a product, move it, or stock it on a shelf, it must answer a fundamental question. How much do customers actually want? In this lesson, we will explore the core concept of demand. We will define what demand really means in a supply chain context, distinguish it from simple sales data, and introduce the basic patterns that demand can follow. Understanding these fundamentals is the first step toward accurate forecasting and effective supply chain management. Learning objectives. By the end of this lesson, you will be able to define demand within the context of supply chain management, differentiate between demand and sales, identify the four primary components of demand patterns. 1. What is demand? In everyday language, demand simply means wanting something. However, in supply chain management, the definition is more specific. Demand is the quantity of a product or service that customers are willing and able to purchase at a specific price over a given period. Let's break that down. Willing and able. A customer might want a luxury yacht, willing, but if they cannot afford it, they are not part of the demand for that yacht. True demand requires both the desire and the purchasing power. Specific price. Demand is always linked to a price. Generally, as the price of an item goes up, the quantity demanded goes down, and vice versa. Given period. Demand is measured over time. We talk about demand per day, per week, or per month. For example, the demand for sunscreen is 50 units per week during the summer. Why is this definition important? Every link in the supply chain, from the raw material supplier to the factory to the shipping company, exists to fulfill this demand. If we misunderstand demand, we end up with too much inventory, wasted money, or not enough, lost sales and unhappy customers. 2. The critical difference. Demand versus sales. This is one of the most important distinctions for a beginner to grasp. Demand and sales are not the same thing. Sales are a historical record of what was actually bought. Demand is the total customer desire that would have been bought if the product was always available. Think of it like a popular new video game console. The store receives 100 units on launch day. 150 customers show up to buy one. The store sells all 100 units. What were the sales? 100 units. What was the demand? 150 units. The 50 customers who left empty-handed represent lost demand, or unmet demand. If the supply chain team only looks at the sales data, 100 units, they will think the product is less popular than it actually is. They might order only 100 units for the next shipment, missing the opportunity to capture the 50 additional customers who are still waiting. The lesson: to truly understand your market, you must look beyond sales receipts and try to estimate the total demand, including the sales you missed due to stockouts. 3. The components of demand. When we analyze demand over time, it rarely looks like a straight, flat line. It fluctuates. To forecast effectively, we need to understand why it fluctuates. Demand is generally composed of four key patterns. 1. Trend, T. A trend represents the long-term increase or decrease in demand. This is the general direction of your data over a long period. Example: the consistent year-over-year growth in global smartphone usage represents an upward trend. The gradual decline in demand for DVD players is a downward trend. 2. Seasonality, S. Seasonality refers to predictable short-term patterns that repeat at regular intervals, daily, weekly, monthly, or quarterly. These are often linked to weather, holidays, or customs. Example: demand for hot chocolate spikes every winter. Demand for swimsuits peaks every summer. A coffee shop might see a surge in demand every weekday morning between 7 to 9 a.m. 3. Cyclical elements, C. Cycles are wave-like fluctuations that last longer than 1 year and are often tied to the broader economy or product life cycles. They are harder to predict than seasonality. Example: demand for new homes often follows cycles that align with economic booms and recessions. Demand for a specific model of car might follow a cycle from its introduction, to its peak popularity, and finally to its decline. 4. Random variation, R. Also known as noise or irregularity. This is the unpredictable component of demand. It results from random, unforeseen events. Example: a sudden, unexpected heatwave causes a random spike in ice cream demand. A viral social media post unexpectedly doubles demand for a niche product. A one-day trucking strike disrupts store deliveries. Putting it all together, real-world demand is the sum of all these components. You can visualize it like this. Observed demand, D, equals trend, T, plus seasonality, S, plus cyclical, C, plus random, R. The goal of demand analysis is to identify and measure the predictable parts, trend, seasonality, cycles, so that the impact of the unpredictable part, random variation, can be minimized in your forecasts. Lesson summary. Let's recap the key takeaways from Lesson 01. Demand is the quantity of goods that customers are willing and able to purchase, not just what they actually buy. Sales data is incomplete. It hides lost demand that occurs when products are out of stock. A good supply chain analyst seeks to understand total demand. Demand is not random noise. It is composed of trend, seasonality, cyclical, and random elements. By identifying these components, we can begin to build a more accurate picture of future customer needs. In the next lesson, we will look at how to visualize these demand components using graphs and begin the process of separating the signal from the noise. I really appreciate you spending your time with me today. If you want to learn more, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Your like means the world to us and helps this channel grow so we can continue bringing you great content. Thanks again, and see you on the next video.